Let's do the daily debate. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. How important is it for Conor McGregor? Is it that Conor McGregor fights in the UFC before the end of the year? I'm going to give you 4 choices. Very important, important, not that important, or not important at all.
I went with very important just because you have to remember, especially with people talking about ratings and all that, every time Conor McGregor fights, it's good for everyone. It's good for the fighters. It's good for the organization.
Good for us.
It's good for us. We just mentioned that the other day. It's great for us. So I think it's very important.
John?
I think it totally depends on where you're coming from. If you're looking at it from a business point of view, a UFC point of view, I'd say very important as well. I mean, a Conor McGregor fight can change their entire financial outlook. If you're looking at it from Conor McGregor or maybe even Khabib Nurmagomedov's point of view, then I say maybe not that important. I think Khabib doesn't really care when or if he ever fights Conor. And I think Conor knows he can come back whenever he wants and still be that big-ticket item. But I think if you're the UFC, yes, you got that money coming in from ESPN next year, but man, you don't want to write this one off as a loss. I think they'd love to have him back.
Jake Ellenberger?
I kind of agree with John here, but I think that important who is really the question. To the UFC for business, absolutely, it's very important. But I would say to Conor, not at all. It's not important at all because he can do we can do whatever he wants. But sure, like Go said too, it's good for business, good for the fighters, it's good for everyone.
Yeah, including our traffic.
Including our traffic.
Yeah. But, I believe this question, obviously, we asked the fans to vote, and 1,757 voted. So I'm going to play the fan role here.
Okay.
Man, you know what? Very important is I'm a fan. I'm a fan, too. Once I take these off on a Friday, I'm like a fan. And so I think we need that kick in the ass from a major star, a pay-per-view star that can bring it. And let's not forget, I know it's been almost a couple years, especially here in Vegas. When that dude fights, I mean, if you hear these soccer chants, it's from a bunch of guys that are here to support Conor McGregor, not to support, the nation of Ireland, who didn't make the World Cup, by the way. But, I mean, it takes over this town. It's a nice buzz that it creates, and it's a nice build-up for 2 months. And then, obviously, we have press conferences, ESPN, everybody's showing all kinds of replays. Sometimes we get water bottles or confrontations. I mean, everything just gets jacked up. I mean, honestly, when they decide who's going to ref is big news in a Conor McGregor fight. Who the judges are going to be, or things like that. So I just think it'd be a good lift, and I'd love to see him fight in 2015 for the UFC. Who at this point?
Khabib, come on, don't even trip.
Well, of course I'd love that, but I'll just take anything because here's my thing, John. I would love for it to be Khabib if he could commit to. All right, if he beats Khabib, are you going to defend? Versus the other guys that have come. But if it's just a one-hit wonder and back to boxing or back to doing other stuff, then pair him up with GSP, and that way they don't disrupt a division, and then they can both make a ton of money. But anyway, let me break it down for you. 45% said very important. 17% said important. So right away we're like, 62% that really feel like, hey, this has to happen. Not that important came in at 16%. I think they'll still take it, but it doesn't. Their lives don't depend on it. 22% didn't give a fuck.
Haters.
Yeah. So there you have it. That is the Daily Debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio crew and UFC welterweight Jake Ellenberger, or as Hector Lombard calls you, Jake Ellenberger.